Welcome back to Law and Crime. I'm your host this afternoon, Caroline Polisi, and court is adjourned for the day in the case of Larry Nassar. It's its second day of sentencing. We're hearing the victim impact statements from his accusers here. We have heard from victims today. We heard prepared statements by colleagues over the defense's objection. We heard one coach yell at Mr. Nassar to go to hell. We've heard so much emotion there today. Our initial reporting yesterday was that we were going to hear from 88. Welcome back to Law and Crime. I'm your host this afternoon, Caroline Polisi, and court is adjourned for the day in the case of Larry Nassar. It's its second day of sentencing. We're hearing the victim impact statements from his accusers here. We have heard from victims today. We heard prepared statements by colleagues over the defense's objection. We heard one coach yell at Mr. Nassar to go to hell. We've heard so much emotion there today. Our initial reporting yesterday was that we were going to hear from 88 of his victims. That number has swelled to over 100. Several of the victims that did not want to go publicly or have their name read aloud or have their face shown on video reconsidered that decision and decided to say their name and to tell their story out loud in the presence of this judge to Dr. Nassar. I should not say doctor because he's been stripped of that title. Emotional day. I'm joined here with Ken Belkin in studio. Ken, criminal defense attorney, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me, Carolyn.
This has been a really hard day. Not going to lie. Yeah. Yesterday was hard. Today was hard. What are your initial thoughts?
I mean, these are terribly moving statements. These victims have suffered so greatly, and the long-term impact of these incidents, I mean, it's going to be with them for the rest of their lives in many cases, and it's had a tremendous effect on their lives. This man has done significant damage to a large portion of the population.
He really has. We just heard there, the last victim impact statement we heard was a readback of Taryn Look. She stated that she has suicidal ideations to this day, severe depression, PTSD. It's had a deep and lasting impact on my life, she said. My childhood was stolen from me. Those were her words. Shame on USAG and shame on MSU. Now, Ken, I want to talk about, we can talk about we've covered sort of the horrific nature of these crimes as it pertains to Dr. Nassar. The word complicit comes to mind, though. What are the ramifications for MSU, for USA Gymnastics? What did they know? When did they know it? Can you shed a little bit of light on this for us?
Well, I'll tell you this. That's going to be the subject of the discovery process in the numerous amounts of lawsuits that are going to come forth in this. The whole state of Michigan, the government, the state government of Michigan, they are potentially on the hook. They're the municipality which funds and supports Michigan State University.
And I just want our viewers to know that Michigan State University President Lou-Anne Simon was present there today. She was not there yesterday. She was seated in the back of the courtroom listening to the Nassar victims testify. After being confronted by press during a short break, she said that she would not be distracting from this case again. And we have a statement from her. Nassar is a monster, she says, who broke our trust. You have to be horrified and extremely sorry that anyone's lives have been affected profoundly. What you are hearing is a story of betrayal and broken trust with enormous ramifications. Again, that is a statement from MSU President Lou-Anne Simon. Ken, it rings a little bit hollow to me, yeah. I have to tell you. What's your reaction?
I mean, pardon my French, but this sounds like ass covering time. When it boils down to it, she's gearing up. There's going to be a lawsuit, and the discovery process is going to be extremely invasive and investigative, and they're going to find out. This is going back decades almost. There's definitely going to be some paper trail, some emails, something. I doubt very highly that the first time they ever had any inkling of an idea that this man was as sick as he is was when he pled guilty or was charged with the initial child pornography possession case. They've known, and they've probably known for a long time.
They have, and just to remind our viewers, he is already serving a 60-year sentence on the federal child pornography charge. Okay, walk us through what that looks like, what an investigation would look like. You referenced a paper trail. What's going on? What's sort of the internal workings at MSU right now?
Well, look, I mean, I think first off, there's probably going to be a civil lawsuit. Then there's probably going to be a lawsuit that's done, an investigation that's done by the state. The state is going to want to get to the bottom of this, how this happened, how this was allowed to continue to happen for as long as it did happen, and they're going to want to know who the responsible parties were for covering it up. They also might want to cover their own tracks because the municipal liability on this is going to be through the roof. And those private lawsuits, they're going to be entitled to all sorts of email records, all sorts of correspondence, all sorts of human resource files pertaining to Dr. Nassar. They're going to go deep. Everything is going to come out over the course of these lawsuits. And it's probably going to be a protracted litigation that develops over the course of many years.
And you stated civil liability. There already is a suit underway, by the way, with 140 women claiming that they were assaulted by him. Do you think there's any criminal liability potentially with any of these sort of peripheral characters, USA Gymnastics, anybody that knew, for example? This is something, we're talking about in the Harvey Weinstein case now, whether or not, I mean, can you charge sort of accomplice liability in a criminal sense
I
here?
mean, if there is a conspiracy to conceal it and to help him get away with these crimes, then yeah, there could be some conspiracy charges brought on the basis of accessory after the fact allegations. But really,
a cover-up.
Yeah, unless they can prove that, no one really has any duty to report a crime. But if they're involved in the crime, if they're acting in a co-conspirator-like fashion, there's definitely criminal liability there.
Yeah, and not true for Title IX. Obviously, there is a responsibility to report in that context, but that's not obviously
employment.
Criminal. Right. Olivia Cowan gave an amazing victim impact statement in which she stated, no holds barred, MSU knew what was going on and turned a blind eye to keep their pockets full. If they had taken action on first reporting, they would have saved her and many other victims. And to USA Gymnastics, she said, shame on you for paying out a victim. That is just wrong. She also point blank called out the president of MSU saying, this was yesterday, saying, how convenient that you decided not to attend today. You are a coward. You have no leadership. And it sickens me that for 16 months you continue to allow Nassar to treat children while he was being investigated for sexual abuse. Something that really resonated with me, she said that as a mother, she expects better behavior from her two young children. Now that was big. That obviously, MSU is taking a big PR hit, and we saw a change in behavior today. We saw that president show up today to watch. But in terms of civil liability, do you think this is there going to be a big payout? Do you think that MSU is going to try to sweep this under the rug, try to sort of settle out these cases without having to litigate them?
Look, to settle the case, it really comes down to the calculation. Are these women going to take, less than it would cost to litigate? In this case, they might want to pay more because of, the PR aspect of it. And I do think it's probably to their benefit to get ahead of this, try to settle these cases. There's going to be a lot of cases. It's 140 victims here. There's going to be a lot of cases. It's probably going to be way more than 140 cases when all is said and done. And I think, because some of the people may not have resulted in criminal allegations and criminal charges. There are probably people out there that didn't cooperate with the prosecution investigation, and it doesn't mean that because they didn't want to be involved in the criminal case that they should not take part in the civil case where they're compensated.
Right. Now, Ken, I'm just getting word from our tech crew that the William Woodward case, the case that we have been teasing for you here on the network, is live in the courtroom. We have been covering that for you and showing you previews of that all last week and this week. The jury has been selected in that case. 10 men and 5 women, that includes 3 alternates, sit on that jury. The state has already called its first witness. Now, apparently, the shooting victim is on the stand, so we want to take you live to that courtroom right now.